In today's video, we are going to teach you how to give a tight slap. No, I'm just kidding. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the different strategies and different ideas through which we can handle criticism. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Evolving Consciousness. I'm your host Purushottam, and in today's video, we are going to talk about this entire concept of criticism and what are the top 3 ways as to how we can cope with criticism. Now, we are going to go a little deep into this premise of criticism because this is something which we are all exposed to in some walk of our life, no matter whether we like it or not. Now, one thing to ponder upon and to contemplate upon before I jump into the main crux of the video is that you need to be very cautious, you need to be very careful, and you need to be authentic to yourself as to whether the criticism is genuine or that criticism is not genuine. Now, how do you know that? You need to introspect on the source of the person who is giving you that criticism. Is that person someone of value himself? Or is the person who is staying in a house of glass and is throwing stones at you? Now, this much of distinction every human being can sort of harbor. And there is a genuine criticism, a criticism which has a certain level of truth in it. Then we need to welcome it. Then we need to take value out of it. We need to leverage that criticism. But if it falls under the other category, where you have been criticized just for the sake of criticized, we are going to explore that particular dimension in a lot of detail. And today's video is going to be very practical, and it's also going to be very enlightening for some of you. So essentially, this whole video is going to help you to give a tight slap, not physically, but at a psychological level, to whoever that person who is not giving a substantial criticism, but is only giving a criticism to pull you down, is offering criticism to pull you down. Now, let us understand this, right? Now, firstly, I want to talk about the fallacy of reality. Now, this concept is very powerful. Now, let's say that you are sort of addressing a bunch of audience, and among that bunch of audience, you ask a certain person to get up, a particularly lean person to get up, and you announce in front of that audience, you look so fat, you look so pathetically overweight. Now, 2 of the things can happen. Either everybody will start laughing at what you just said, because it's evident that this person is lean, but you're saying he's fat. Now, what am I trying to say through this example? Essentially, what I'm trying to tell you is this. You can only get hurt by criticism if somewhere deep within you believe that criticism to be true. You cannot get hurt by a certain comment or criticism if you know that it has nothing to do with reality. It is absolutely nothing which resonates with reality. That criticism has nothing of substance. Now, once you understand this, then that criticism doesn't affect you. Now, this can be applied to countless situations, both in the personal and the professional sphere. Hence, always investigate the reality, and from an unbiased standpoint, not from the eyes of the critic and not from a biased standpoint of yourself, right? Try to consult a person who himself is a person of value, not someone who hasn't done anything in his own life and he enjoys throwing stones at others while he himself is an absolute failure. You need to be very cautious about the sources through which you take feedback. Now, there are people who give such illicit criticisms, right? And they always try to pull others down. If you closely introspect in the lives of these people, they essentially hurt people, they're essentially insecure people, they're essentially scared people. And if you look at their life, right, these people suffer from what is called as inferiority complex. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, critics criticism is only showered on people who are a mark above, who are doing something which is considered to be the road less traveled. And once you realize this, you get a very humble understanding. These people always want to pull you down, the reason being that they feel inferior as compared to you. As compared to you, they feel themselves inferior in terms of their educational qualifications, in terms of their intellectual prowess, in terms of their financial standing. In every parameter you can think of, probably these people are inferior to you. Fulton Sheen put it so well. He said, jealousy is the price mediocrity pays to the genius. Jealousy is the price mediocrity pays to the genius. Now, this one very important aspect of these people, right? There will be 100 good things in your life, but these people will hunt down that loophole in your life which is missing. And they will try to flabbergast it. They will try to expand on it. Now, essentially, these people are suffering from inferiority complex. They look at you and they think so inferior within, and they want to mask that inferiority complex by this subtle suggestion, saying that this thing is missing in your life. Look at it, how pathetic your life is. They try to criticize you. Essentially, what they are doing is they are masking their own inferiority complex, and this makes them feel good. Let's understand, people criticize you not because they want you to pull you down. Essentially, they derive a sense of satisfaction because they couldn't do what you do, right? Because they couldn't accomplish what you have accomplished, because they probably don't have what you have. Hence, its jealousy is one of those primal reasons as to why people criticize. As I mentioned, the source is very important to look at. If the source is a genuine person, if a source is a person who appreciates the goodness in you, and also he gives you genuine feedback so that you can improve, now that's a different ball game. But here is a person who sort of discounts all the good things about you and focuses on that one bad thing or that one missing loophole, and makes you believe that that is the entire world, right? So this is jealousy in action. This is jealousy in play. Once you realize this, you sort of don't view that person through eyes of hate, but you view that person through eyes of compassion. Because you realize how pathetic that person is. He probably is feeling a lot of envy within you. And envy is not a good emotion for anyone to sort of embody. They feel a soothing effect when they criticize you so that they can sort of offset that envious feeling. They get a fake sense of superiority over you, whether that has nothing to do with reality. So essentially, always remember this, that people who give you negative criticism, people who simply want to pull you down, essentially, these are the people who haven't done what you are able to do, and these are jealous people. Now, jealousy can be at so many different subtle levels. Most of us are not even aware of the things we are jealous of. And criticism is the most pragmatic manifestation of this emotion called jealousy. I hope this understanding is building a lot of perspective in you as to how to deal with negative criticism. Now you won't feel a lot of hate, you won't be consumed by that toxic negativity, because you will see those people through eyes of compassion, through eyes of sympathy. Now let's go to the third. Now I want to narrate a beautiful story which happened in the life of Gautam Buddha, which sort of gives us a lot of inspiration to not only handle criticism but also to handle insults and abuse in general. So it so happens that Gautam Buddha was once preaching his knowledge on spirituality, and there's one person who enters that hall and he starts abusing Buddha with the most abject, filthy language. He starts abusing Buddha. Now everyone is absolutely taken aback that Buddha is such a great personality and this person is continuously abusing. But Buddha does not react. Buddha gently observes. And after some time, this guy gets frustrated because he didn't get any reaction from Buddha. And next day, he comes to Buddha and says, I insulted you publicly, but still there was no reaction. Then Buddha gives a beautiful example. He says that, my friend, I just want to ask you a very important question, a very subtle question. Please answer my question. Then the person says, yes, please go ahead. If someone gives you a gift, and you refuse to take it, who does the gift stay back with? The person said, the person himself, because you refused to take the gift. That's exactly what I did with you. Mentally, at a psychological level, I refused to buy into your abuse. I refused to buy into your insults. And as a result, those insults never came to me, they stayed back with you. Now, this is such a powerful story. It gives us so many powerful messages, right? It talks about the ultimate freedom which every human being has, the freedom of whether to take that negative criticism or to let that negative criticism stay with the person who is giving that. This is a very powerful way to perceive reality. As I said, if the criticism is coming from a genuine source, a person of character, a person of virtues, a person who has done something substantial, not a person who has just swayed around in life, right? Who hasn't done anything of value, but he has the prowess and arrogance to criticize others. I'm not talking about such a character. If the criticism is coming from a dignified character, a person you value and respect, take that very preciously. Embrace that criticism and leverage it for your own benefit. But most of us, we are sort of bombarded with criticism which is born out of envy. Now I'm talking about that kind of criticism. Now Buddha, this person was so hateful and so envious of Buddha's popularity that he bombarded him with so many insults. But Buddha gave him a tight slap, a slap which did not need any physical manifestation, but it made him realize how stupid he was. Hope this message, this story will stay back with you for a very long time. And the next time you face criticism, and next time you face negative opinion, you know how to deal with it. Now I also want to talk about this aspect, right? Let your actions be the most befitting reply to those critics, to those unnecessarily persons who always want to pull you down, people who want to tear you apart. Now there are so many examples, right? If I talk about my personal favorite, Shah Rukh Khan, he was heavily criticized and he was also considered a eunuch. He was not even considered a man because of his unique acting style. But that didn't led him to lose his uniqueness. And his career is probably the most befitting tight slap to those critics who once told that he is not a good actor. He is not a man. They questioned his manhood. And today, the world knows what a powerful man is. This also happened with the great Ratan Tata. When Ratan Tata wanted to explore he went with this business proposal to Mr. Bill Ford. And Mr. Bill Ford insulted him. Why the hell are you entering in the automobile industry? You know nothing about cars. Mr. Ratan Tata didn't react. Next morning, he comes back to India with his team. And he puts excruciating hard work in the automobile industry. And he builds his own brand of automobile. And years later, the tables turn around. And this time, Mr. Bill Ford comes to Mr. Ratan Tata when his Jaguar was not doing so well. And Mr. Bill Ford says that you would be doing a huge favor to me if you buy my company, buy my sinking company. Now this is how tables turn. And also one thing which is sort of prevalent in all of us, right? We all seek validation, we all seek approval. Now, one thing you need to realize, you need to be true to yourself. You don't need certificate from people who know you from a couple of years or maybe a couple of months. Understand this and realize this. The certificate you need to give yourself as to what kind of a person you are, that is to your soul, not to the people around who themselves are so impure in their terms of viewing reality. These people are extremely conditioned and they view you through their conditioned apparatus. Now, I want to take a spiritual tangent. In the Bhagavad Gita, when Lord Krishna was sort of narrating this phenomenal concept of Gita, when he started narrating that, when he told Arjuna that this is not the first time I'm telling the Gita, before you had told the sun god, Arjuna was absolutely perplexed as to what the hell you're saying. I mean, we are having this conversation for the very first time, and you're saying that you have already told this to people. Then Krishna talks about the concept of reincarnation. He says that you can only see this particular costume, this particular lifetime, but I know the different lifetimes where you and me were there, and we were in different identities, different forms. Now, this is not some philosophy, this is something which has been established by modern day science. Essentially, what I'm inviting you to consider is this: God, or universal intelligence, or cosmic intelligence, whatever name you like to give it, that universal intelligence, that cosmos, knows you from many lifetimes. He has the account of all the good and bad you have done. So you are essentially not accountable to people outside who sort of look at you through a prism which is filled with conditioning. You are not accountable to them. So forget about appeasing them. Forget about making them feel good. Forget about the image you have in their eyes. Because the number one reason today we don't focus on our own self is because we are so much addicted to validation. Now, this is something which was also a part of my personality. Am I perfect? No, I'm still a work in progress. I still look for approval. I still look for validation. But I've realized what a stupid way of living this is. And I'm continuously pondering upon these thoughts, and I am being more authentic to myself, because I've realized no matter what you do to people, people will always try to look at the bad aspects. They won't appreciate the goodness. There are people who do, but most of us are conditioned to the negativity so much that we will always label you through that. But that cosmic intelligence, he knows you from so many lifetimes, and he has the proper account of your good and bad. So he is the ultimate judge. You don't need the approval of these people who sort of downplay you, who criticize you. You don't need their character certificate. Be true to yourself, be true to your soul. This is a powerful message. And also remember, every time you dwell on the criticism on what someone told to you, that moment is stolen for you to do something productive. You are sort of avoiding the moment wherein you can do something productive, something of value, when you are giving that moment to your critical thoughts. When you are dwelling on those thoughts, you are essentially using that particular moment in dwelling in that criticism, which you could have utilized in exploring your vision, in taking the right actions at the right steps. It is many of the huge business titans, they say that if I focus on my competition, if I focus on my criticism, I probably would have never grown so much. Sure, taking constructive and positive feedback is good, but getting consumed what others think about me is the sure shot recipe of failure. I hope my today's video was of value to you and also gave you some perspective as to how you can authentically understand the ways to deal with criticism. And the more you go up in your ladder, whether it's in your personal mastery or in your life in general, you're going to be surrounded with more and more critics. There's a famous quote by Narendra Modi. He says that every day I eat 2 kilos of abuses. So when people don't like you, take it as a compliment, because essentially you're doing something which the ordinary is not doing. And when the more you grow higher in your life, you are going to invite more and more and more critics. But of course, always gauge whether the criticism is valid or is it coming from an authentic source, a source which you can consider as high value. Thank you so much for your time on my video. I hope my video was of value to you. And this gave you a lot of perspectives on to how to understand criticism and the dynamics and the mechanics of this concept of criticism. Thank you so much for your time on my video, and also don't forget to share this content of my today's video with a lot of people, because we all are so demonically affected by criticism. Hence it's very important to share this content and make it viral. And also it gave you the means through which you can give a tight slap to that critic, not at a physical level but at a psychological level. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll meet you in the next video. Bye.